Charlie D'Agata shows us how the fighting is going along the front lines of
After a brief period, of upheaval in Russia, in which President Vladimir Putin's regime was tested perhaps more than at any time in his over 20 years in power, focus has returned to the front lines of the war in Ukraine.
I'd say the counteroffensive has been going slowly. Ukraine's allies certainly hoped for more progress by this point than we've seen.
I can't emphasize enough how difficult it is for a unit to get through this obstacle belt from hell. It's among the toughest military operations that anybody could anticipate.
Here's the situation on the ground right now, and what to expect next on the battlefield. In early June, Ukraine began its long-awaited counteroffensive, with much of the fighting concentrated in the southern regions of Zaporizhia and Donetsk.
In those first days, there were big armed formations pushing forward. They were using German Leopard tanks. They were using American Bradley fighting vehicles. The terrain in the Zaporizhia region where they're trying to push forward is very unforgiving for an attacking force. It's very agricultural. It's mostly very flat, open fields. You can see for miles. So there's very little cover.
На сегодняшний день российская армия отступает на Запорожском, Херсонском направлениях.
Then, on Friday, June 23rd, tensions between the Russian paramilitary organization, known as the Wagner Group, and Russian military leaders boiled over after Wagner leader Yevgeny Prigozhin said the Russian military had killed a huge number of his troops in an airstrike. But as quickly as the revolt had started, it fizzled. Less than 24 hours after the mutiny was launched, the two sides reached what appeared to be a truce.
I don't think the mutiny has had a significant effect of any kind on the counteroffensive. The Ukrainians were in this kind of holding pattern where they're probing for weak spots, and that's what they were doing before the mutiny, and that's still what they're doing.
So, the situation on the ground right now...
I'm going to throw you now to Weenie in the Butt in the afternoon.
There hasn't been a significant progress.
He served in Bosnia, Kosovo,
You're
and Iraq.
really starting to creep me
There are
out.
3 attacks,
You're like the biggest
significant
losers
attacks going on as the Ukrainians are trying to figure out the soft spots along the front. The first, this is down here by Bakhmut. It has flipped back and forth between the Ukrainian and Russian forces numerous times. If the Ukrainians are able to blow through there, I think that they would go further down to the southeast, as far as possible to the border. The second area where they seem to be putting a lot of pressure on is down here by Zaporizhia. Obviously, not only is the nuclear plant significant, but this also gives a breakthrough route that takes you all the way to Berdyansk. If this Ukrainian force was able to break through to Berdyansk, there would be a cutting off of the land bridge up towards the Donetsk. There's a lot of fighting going up here near Vukovar as well. Same idea. This would give them a route through Donetsk down to Mariupol, or could take it straight to Mariupol.
On June 6th, the Nova Kakhovka Dam on the Dnipro River was breached, releasing a flood of water from Ukraine's largest reservoir.
The Russians, fearing that this was the #1 attack route to split off Crimea and also get out to the water, they flooded the dam down here at Nova Kakhovka. Well, it's starting to dry out again, and the water is going into the Black Sea. That gives the potential for the Ukrainian forces here in Kherson to start the attack.
If you got friends coming around and
Yeah.
Time is it? Time to work it out. Time.
Now,
in this, where everybody's getting staged right there, once you bring around a little bit. DJ! I was afraid you might have got booked for your head hands.
It's been all going on for months. We've been practicing, you know, we've been going around.